Hi, it's Amber from Raising Wild and Free. I just want to hop on and talk about homeschooling. If you are new here, welcome. I am a homeschooling mama from Raising Wild and Free. I have put together for you guys some thoughts. If you guys are brand new this year to joining the homeschooling world, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here looking for some encouragement. So let's dive in. So if you have this year decided I'm going to homeschool, whether you elected to homeschool or you felt like you didn't really like the other options, so you're going to homeschool. So the first thing I really want to talk to you about is that when you are beginning homeschooling, you're probably feeling a little bit nervous. Some of you might be feeling stressed out. Some of you might even be worried that you don't feel like you know what you're doing. So the thing is though, you don't have to know what you're doing. You don't have to feel stressed out, and you definitely don't have to have all the answers right now, okay? So I just here to show you that it's okay to not have a curriculum picked out, and it's also okay if you do have a curriculum picked out. As you're going through your homeschool year, it's okay to know that if the curriculum that you picked for your kid is not working and you're having a lot of resistance with your child, it's okay to stop and do something else. It doesn't mean that you're a failure as a mom. It just means that it's just not working for your child. By the way, I really highly recommend when you're first beginning your journey, I would just get your feet wet a little bit and really just not dive into a curriculum. This is your first year. I would do something really fun your first month. Just plan out some really fun things. Go on some field trip, get some fun like learning resources, explore, go out in nature, explore, talk about nature, go to your local library, find some interesting books. Like there's so much you can do without actually spending money and buying a curriculum that you're not even so sure how it all works and if it's even gonna work for your child. And it's okay, like your child is not going to fall behind. And the parents who ask me like, well, what if my child falls behind? What do I do? And my response always is, fall behind who? Fall behind who? Who are they falling behind? Okay? Think about that for a little bit. Let those thoughts come into your mind and think about who are they actually falling behind. Okay, so the next thing is really just enjoy your time with your children. Really enjoy it. Just don't worry about, getting behind, because again, behind who? And really focusing on building your relationships with your kids and serving them. Lay out a feast of amazing opportunities for them to get a taste of each thing, but you don't have to force learning onto your children. Think about when your child was 3 and 4, how curious those little minds were and how mischievous they can be sometimes getting into things because they're curious. Kids are natural born learners, and it's not until we get into school that we're taught to realize like learning can't happen unless it's given to me, unless someone's teaching me something, unless someone is saying this is learning. But when actual reality, learning has never stopped. Learning is all around us. There's so many ways to learn, and naturally, organically, subjects are pulled into learning. So just know that learning's always happening. They're not going to be behind. And if anything, if you homeschool this way, this more relaxed way of supporting your child's interests and passions, they're actually going to excel. They're going to get into a subject that's really interesting to them, and they're going to dive deep into that subject, and they're going to become well knowledgeable about those subjects. And then it will change. Sometimes they'll spend weeks, sometimes it will be just a day they spend on a certain particular thing they're interested in. But the cool thing is that your interests can lead into passions, and your passions can learn into all kinds of learning. And in fact, one of my kids recently wanted to learn how to read. He's 6. Before that, he did not care about reading, no interest, and he found something that requires reading. He found something that requires spelling, and he came to me and said, Mom, I really want to learn how to read and spell and write. And I said, wow, that's great. So I showed him, this is the way I know how to do it. So we did the thing for a little while, and he said, okay, I'm done, I'm good for now. So I stopped when he was done, and then later he came back, about 2 months later, he came back and he said, Mom, I want to learn how to read and spell. And I said, okay, let's go into the way I know how to teach it. He said, fine, and he sat there, and I was blown away. Just a little bit of time I already spent with him, he figured out enough of the foundations and had exceeded and passed most of the lessons that I had where he was going to start. He was just flying through them, already knew it, and it was because it was important to him enough to learn the reading and spelling on his own. I'm not making this up. And so not all kids will find value in the same things as another child, or same thing with adults. There will be things that adults have big interest in that other adults don't. The thing is, if a child is being forced into something that they're not ready for or have any interest in, some will sit there and they'll do it because if they don't, they're gonna think they're gonna get in trouble. However, if I'm an adult and I'm being forced to learn something that is so not interesting to me and it's boring as heck, and I have no choice because I'm fearful that I'm gonna get in trouble, so I'll be a little good girl and I'll do the work, but I'm really not learning. I'm really not retaining the information. I'm just doing enough to get by and to please the person who's making me do it. So why would we do that to our children? Like, it's not beneficial. They're not actually going to learn. You're not building a great relationship with them when it's like this power struggle of learning. So it's okay if your child says no, like, and you can, keep encouraging and trying, but if it's a real solid no right now, it's okay to be okay with that. They are not ready for that yet, but when they are, they will reveal that to you. They really will. And a lot of times kids will, this type of learning, they'll end up being autodidact, which means self-learner, self-taught, and they'll surprise you with how much they learn and will know. And it's a process of being very hands-on with your child. It's a process of finding what works for them. It's a continued process of laying out a feast of knowledge and great books and learning resources. But the key is not to stress, not to feel like you have to check the boxes to get done with the tasks for the day. It's not even about finishing the whole year's curriculum, because you're afraid that if we don't, we're gonna get behind. And if you do that, there's going to be consequences with that. Kids are going to have hard days where they're just done. Enough is enough. Like, this is really hard for me. I'm being forced to do this thing every single day and I'm struggling here. So I'm having a really hard day, and they're gonna give you a hard time for it. They're gonna push back. And those are the days where we have that power struggle with our child. Says, you will sit down and do it because you're told to. I told you 10 times to come over here and sit down, and we've been staring at your math problem for 2 hours and we're still not done yet. Those are the days when we're like, I'm the parent and we're like having this power struggle with them, like, you will do it. And our relationships are going downhill because we think that this is a discipline problem, when actuality it's really more of a, I'm not ready for this, or it's the delivery of it. Like, it's just not working. Maybe what you're using, it might not speak to the child, and maybe that child just naturally, organically needs to lead into more of a self-directed style, where they kind of self-direct the way in the paths that they want to learn, and through that it's by interest, and interest leads to passions, which leads to learning. And you can be up till midnight some nights learning, because when we teach our kids to fall in love with learning, we are giving them the ultimate gift for success. Because if you have that drive in you, you're going to do that your whole life and you're going to be successful. And kids that are really spoon-fed their education and forced onto it them, they cannot wait for school to be done. They cannot wait to graduate, and And then they get out there and they're adults and they're kind of like, where do we go from here? Like, do I go to college? Do I go get a job? You know, there's a lot of people who are lost and they have to find their way again, when all along they had that when they were 4, 5 years old, but then they were educated out of it, that it was always there. So again, just remember that if you are the checklist kind of mama, it's okay. You can still have checklists, you can still have goals. In fact, it's great to have goals where you and your children and your family, what your visions are. I encourage you to write out your vision for this year. Why are you homeschooling? Get to the heart of it. And if part of your goal is for your child to read that year, great, go ahead and try it, give it a go. But just remember that just because it's your wish, your desire, it doesn't mean that the child is ready for it, and that's okay too. Just always know that your child will get there. They will get there. So I hope that this kind of brought some inspiration and encouragement to you. Just remember not to stress. It's okay, relax, and enjoy this year with your children. Like, let this be, think of this in a positive way more than a negative, like, oh, you know, I don't know what to do, or I'm so stressed out, I didn't even want to homeschool, or I never imagined I would homeschool. Just look at it as a opportunity to really build deep relationships with your children and go do some fun, amazing things. Go travel. Take them to the park, take them to field trips, take them to the library, take them to a friend's house, take them wherever your heart's desire. Go out in nature. Just remember, when we're exploring the world around us, curiosity is going to spark, and then, oh my goodness, open the gates because it's gonna flood in. You guys have a great rest of your week. Happy Wednesday, and it's been amazing chatting with you. Talk to you guys later.